Welcome to The Withering Effect, episode 26, published January 1st, 2020. I'm Carl, or CarlRyds to the rest of the internet, and today is a very special episode of the podcast, where I'll be taking a look back at some of the best conversations and ideas from our episodes in 2019. We started back in June with our very first episode, discussing the new weapons and mobs in the Minecraft Dungeons trailer at E3.
Minecraft Dungeons, I got excited for.
Oh, you did?
I did.
Okay.
I wasn't excited for it when I first saw it, but after that trailer, it really felt like what Nintendo's doing with Link's Awakening.
Okay.
Trying to bring back an old style of gameplay on games with newer views and takes on it.
Right, and I guess you're mainly aiming at the sort of top-down view and
yeah.
Well, kind of that, right?
Yeah. And
right, well, yeah.
It doesn't look like it's going to be any kind of building or crafting or any of that kind of stuff. But I think it looks like a fun game. It's a way to introduce maybe new mobs to see how people interact with them. Maybe a way to bring in new weapon types to see how the weapon types interact with mobs. Because I have a feeling 1.15 will be a combat update. And I wouldn't be surprised if they bring in something like a spear or a heavy hammer or something like that.
I had not seen it from that point of view. I think I like that. That seems like a good idea. I would like to wield a big hammer or something in the game, which I saw in the trailer. They picked out a big hammer. I saw.
Yep.
It's interesting trying out mobs and weapons through that. That's for sure. I looked at it and thought it was cool. Like, you know, it seems like a fun game, but I didn't get the idea there was anything more than just running through a dungeon and beating mobs up, basically.
Yeah, it definitely just looks like a dungeon crawler.
Yeah, but I didn't see anything. Well, I'm hoping they will add it, because that would be really cool, but just a little story or anything like quests, or maybe even a town where you could just hang out or start from, or, you know, like Link's Awakening has, for example.
Yeah.
Even in newer games, like, they have that as well, right? They have sort of... It's a full-on RPG, and this just seems like an RPG with just the dungeons, which is going to be fun for a while, I'm sure, but for the long time, I don't think it'll last if they don't add a bit of extra
replayability
to it.
Might actually suffer a bit.
Yeah.
I'd like to see stuff where you could take your Minecraft skin and bring it into the game, so that way you feel like Dungeons is an extension of your gameplay on wherever you play, Java, console, Bedrock.
From what I understood, customization was definitely something they were adding in it. That was a big part of it. So I guess that'll be... I mean, obviously everybody wants to get his own character skin in there, right?
Right, but my fear with that is that's where they're going to monetize things. Because it's a free-to-play game now. But I have a feeling they're going to nickel and dime you on making your guy look cool.
Same as like the console version, right?
Yeah.
You have to buy skins as well.
I get that. I'm okay with a free-to-play game charging you for customizations and stuff like that to pay for the game. To me, that's the best solution out of all of them. But it'd be really cool to be able to bring over my own personal skin and play with it. And for all I know, maybe I'm able to customize my guy to look exactly the way it does in Java.
I guess the least they could do is just add sort of a payable option that you could add your own skin or something. Preferably they just do it for free, right? But then I can see how that would conflict with their own skins. People could recreate it, I guess, something like that.
Yeah, and they do have to make money somewhere because, like I said, it's a free-to-play game, so I can.
I think it's a good solution. I mean, I've played free-to-play games occasionally. The biggest one I've played is League of Legends. They handled it the same way, right? You can buy skins, it's optional, and the game in general is for free. And I have to say it was a great game to play. I think Dota handles it the same way. Like, a lot of stuff is free, but, you know, if you want to customize, you can pay and sort of support the company.
Yeah.
It's a great way to do things, I'd say.
Yeah, I'm on agreement with that. I think it would be cool to add the Java skins in there, but if the only way to monetize this game is through skins, I am 100% for it that way. Way better than doing loot boxes or pay to win stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, I think it could be fun to have some kind of loot from the final bosses.
Mm-hmm.
Same as like World of Warcraft would deal with it, for example.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hope to see like a little extra story, else it's probably not gonna last for me for too long.
Right. Like, doing some kind of a new dungeon every month would be really cool. I don't know how hard that would be. I don't know how big their dungeons are. But
yeah, good question as well. I wonder how like how much you would need a team, if that makes sense. Like,
yeah, can you play it by yourself?
Right, and the sort of traditional, what is it, RPG kind of things. That you need a group, right? You need someone to heal. You need someone to do that.
Yeah, you need
someone
role
to
players.
do something else. Right. I wonder if they sort of, you can just go in there with a bunch of friends and start beating things up, or is there gonna be like, do you need some strategy in it?
We now fast forward to July and episode 3, where Duds and Bank come up with some improvements that they would like to see to Minecraft. We look at things like redstone gears, better inventory management, and lighting options.
Mechanically moving gears.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool idea.
I'd like to put a gear on top of a piston and another gear going into that gear, and physically be able to see turning motions moving that piston up and down. So maybe you can control the speed of a piston opening and closing.
Oh, that could be interesting. It made me think of something else that I know a long time ago I thought of, and was just like, oh, how cool it would be to have like some kind of string so you could make an actual drawbridge or something.
Yeah.
Which would work really well with those gears. Maybe something like rope could be cool.
I'd love to have rope to do drawbridges and all that kinds of stuff. I think...
Hanging bridges.
Yeah, I think it's stupid that leads don't do that now. I think you should be able to take one end of a lead and put it on a fence post, take the other end, put it on a fence post, and it's done.
Yeah, I can see how it could be sort of a tricky thing to implement as well, though. It wouldn't work like a block would it? And then even the leads are a bit wonky.
Yeah.
I can see how... I don't know. It's hard to say something about, I guess. But I would love to see it.
Well, to me, I think you would just keep the lead the same as it is, but you would change the fence. So you can attach a lead to an animal and a fence if the lead, I guess, sees the animal first. And I know there's a trick you can break the lead and still get it on the fence somehow, but I think it's just changing the fence to a classification as an animal, and maybe not so much an entity, that it would go, okay, I'm attached to two objects that I'm allowed to be attached to. I don't know. I can't code or know the background of how any of this works, but to me, I don't think it would be that hard.
Maybe not. It's I would love to see it anyhow. They should just work towards it.
Really should.
Yeah.
My next thing is better inventory management. Because my inventory is always full. Oh man. I think shulker boxes were a great addition to the game. Probably the most important and most important new block to the game ever since Redstone.
Yeah, that could very well be true.
To me, elytras are really important, but they were not important until firework rockets became a thing.
Well, also with elytra, I sometimes have the idea it could be cool if we didn't have them, because it changes the way you experience builds of people. With a shulker box, I've never had the idea like, oh, it could be cool if we didn't have those.
Yeah.
It's like they've always been great. Yeah.
Well, and this brings back to more unique redstone items. a shulker box minecart.
Oh, yeah.
You have minecart
cool.
chests, but how cool would it be to, instead of a hopper emptying out what's inside the chest, like a minecart chest would do, it sucks the entire shulker box out. So when it comes back, it's
plop
just
in a new one.
Yeah, it's just an empty minecart.
Yeah. Oh, that would be cool. Oh, that would be a cool Redstone edition.
Redstone genius.
Yeah, you deserved it this one. On this one.
Yes. He doesn't say that
It's been
often,
a while.
guys.
Well, it's been a while. You didn't do much. I don't know. Doesn't matter.
All right,
That would be a cool one.
My next thing I think everyone agrees with, more unique lighting options.
Yep. Again, I agree.
I think everyone loves lanterns. I think they are a great thing to the game. I even like inrods now that they're not purple.
Yeah.
But we don't have a lot of full block options still.
It's hard to light up like bigger areas without like spamming torches or something. It's
Yeah, I'm going through that right now with my landscaping.
Yeah, it's hard to light up nice big areas without. Yeah, I mean you could use lanterns now, but that's pretty much just as weird as having torches everywhere.
Yeah, and plus I would love to be able to dye redstone lamps, so they put off a different color.
That would be cool. That would be really cool.
I want shades of color everywhere. To me, Minecraft's too gray.
Well, even if it doesn't change the light color, it could just be cool to have a different color than like the brownish yellow lamps, right? So you could blend them in better into your build or whatever you're making.
I agree with you. I would not hate that, but I feel it would kind of be lost not to be able to have different lighting. I think even with Optifine, you're able to do it somehow.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I mean, obviously they're gonna have to do it, so it does create the color light, but you know, at least give them the option to just change the color.
Continuing the theme of improving Minecraft, we now go to episode 5, Mobs, Mobs and More Mobs, where Duds and Bank come up with a way to farm quartz and a giant worm with new mobs in the Nether.
But now here comes the fun part. I decided to try to make my own custom mob from scratch, and we talked about the rules, and our rules for this part of the topic was you can't generate a structure to basically give a reason to have a mob. So like we both kind of agreed, well, if we generate structures in the Nether, having a golem spawn there would be awesome. It's like, well, no, because there are no structures in the Nether other than the Nether fortress. You have to use what's there. You can't make your own to justify a mob.
Yeah, it would make it sort of too easy and too hard at the same time if you did that. Like you don't want to invent a mob and then having to like come up with a ton of mechanics and structures to make it work. You sort of just want a mob, right?
Yeah, it's like, well, I want a kraken in the ocean, and it spawns next to this giant castle in underwater. Well, it's like, well, you have a guardian temple and stuff.
Yeah, and probably you would be more inventing like the castle than the actual mob.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. I think that could happen as well.
Yeah.
So it was a good idea to just have a mob and not include like structures or something like that.
Yeah, and I'm going to give you half credit on my mob because Bank thought of the spawning mechanic for my mob. And my mob is a wraith. So it's a ghost-like creature that'll spawn when a player is near soul sand. The wraith is attracted to the player, so it'll try to like hover towards the player, but it won't attack them unless provoked. So if you even just swing at it, that's when it's going to attack you. And it's going to attack you kind of like the flying Vex mobs would, just in that crisscross pattern. The only difference is they can only be killed with fire aspect. So it makes them OP. Because, let's face it, a lot of people don't put fire aspect on their sword. Well, I guess flame on a bow would also work. It's got to be a flaming weapon.
Fire would kill them, basically.
Yeah, if you could get them to hover into fire, or even lava, because I'm counting lava as fire. I know a lot of mobs in the Nether don't die to lava, but this one would. So that'd be cool. And the big thing is when it drops, or when it dies, it drops quartz. So now it's a farmable mob for quartz.
Yeah, I at first I thought like, ooh, a raid. That's an interesting mob. Why would it be in the Nether? And then I started thinking, well, it's kind of a like hellish mob, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of
Well, and see, that's
thing.
what
So it
my
makes
original
sense to
thought
have
was.
Yeah, it makes sense to have it in the Nether. And then like you said, I know you were struggling with like, what were the spawn mechanics? And then I suggested sort of something with soul sand. I think it would be a great mob. I think you invented an awesome thing there.
Yeah, I mean, when you mention soul sand, it makes perfect sense. It's soul sand. The wraith could be spawning to try to steal the soul out of the player.
Yeah, they sort of seem like they do that. I'm not exactly 100% sure on what a wraith actually is, but you know, it sort of fits the description that they would be after souls. And I love the idea that they drop quartz. It would. It's just amazing.
Well, especially on a multiplayer server, because after a while you start to run out of quartz in here, and you got to dig a while to get some more. Luckily, Ripple Effect's not too bad. Comicraft was way worse with losing quartz. Yeah, I think quartz needs to be farmable. I know you can trade for it with villagers now, but farmable quartz, I think, is a must. I think that's all I really kind of have for the Wraith. What do you have, Bank?
Well, I wanted to add one mob that sort of maybe existed half-ashly. I say it this way because it was a myth, and then I think we all have heard of Herobrine, I think he's named.
Yep.
I know, it's a mob. It's I think it's been like a myth for a really long time, hasn't it? And
yeah,
it sort
I was going to say
died out.
For a lot of the updates or whatever, in every update they'll say removed Herobrine and little notes.
Yeah, and I remember like seeing videos of people encountering him and stuff, which obviously were faked, but it would be like a really rare something to encounter, but it would basically mean like if he looks at you, you're dead or something. I know eventually they sort of figured out that it really wasn't in the game, which kind of is a shame. I always liked the idea of having him around somehow, like, just very rare. Yeah. I don't know, it added something like, ooh, what's that? Just, it makes you sort of jump for every unknown thing you see in the corner of your eyes or something.
But that's not a good thing, man. I got a weak heart.
Yeah, good point. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I just like the idea of that.
If you're
like the killer bunny, right?
Yeah.
It would be one in a million or something would be the killer bunny. So I like that idea.
You have Herobrine and his pet killer bunny out to kill you.
Oh boy, that would be even worse.
You're like, oh, look at that bunny there. And then it tries to eat your face. So you turn around to run, and there's Herobrine. Great gameplay.
Oh, yeah. But in the same spirit, I obviously invented a mob as well. I don't think it matches yours. I think you invented an awesome one, which would really work in Minecraft. Mine is a bit more gimmicky, and I was thinking caves. It's been something that's been discussed lately a lot in general, I think. Cave updates and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I thought it could be interesting to just have a dedicated like cave monster or something. Considering caves are normally like really full of hostile mobs already, I don't think it necessarily needs to be a hostile mob.
Okay.
But I thought it could be fun to have it where you can feed it ores, and then when it eats it, it sort of spits it back out, or it poops out like the converted version of the ore, with a small fortune effect, which could also work for like iron or gold. Like you find iron ore and you just give it to that thing, and it would eat it up and then poop out like 2 or 3 iron ingots.
Yeah, I mean, that would be real cool for early game, for sure.
Yeah, that was my thought. Like, you go down in caves and I don't know, you would encounter that and it would sort of help you out. I think that would just add a bit of fun. and it wouldn't be too overpowered. But maybe you could do, I don't know, combine it with quartz, maybe.
You can do that, too.
Feed it quartz, and then you get a bit of fortune effect or whatever. Obviously, redstone diamonds. When you find your first diamonds, that's always... Some people wait a long time. They leave diamonds sort of underground, and then when they get a fortune pickaxe, they go and mine that. You could sort of go around that part, maybe.
That's true. I like that. That could be a really fun... And like you said, it's gimmicky, but it's not OP and game-breaking. It's the perfect, nice little fit. It really emphasizes, we're here to help you the first night.
In episode 12, Duds and Bank are joined by Nina from the Lionheart SMP. She joins us to talk about what it's like running a server and how they set the rules and try and differentiate themselves from other SMPs.
We have a lot of, because we have a lot of members, we have a lot of different people playing and having like their own opinions on like all that stuff, like auto fishing, not X-ray. I think it's you gotta find the people that are similar to your interests and how you play as well in order to like have fun. But what we kind of do, we just kind of let things happen. We try not to like strict people too much. So we let auto fishing slide. What we thought was more important was, I guess, the economy. So if we you don't want like that one person to get all the money, right?
Yeah.
And it's how else are we gonna, like, we all gotta mine for diamonds. So I guess like it's important for the people that auto fish not get so stingy with their books or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard trying to create server
I think part of the reason we also implemented that kind of thing is we had sort of an open application server. Like, we were on the YouTuber server or whatever, so we had like quite a lot of traffic from people coming in and going out. And if you allow things like an auto fisher or an auto clicker, they're gonna have insane farms. It was sort of to prevent a lot of random people just building farms and then starting hoarding and all of stuff for no reason.
We had lots of players who would come, build a farm, and then just kind of leave. Like, they didn't have a house, they didn't have armor. That's just all they did. It's like, we had a pretty extensive, like, application process. Like, it wasn't super easy, because that's the way we felt. Like, if you were willing to sit there and fill out our crazy application and deal with the fact that we had a server vote to vote you in, and everything, we felt that was enough to, like, okay, this player obviously wants to be here, wants to be part of a community. But no, we'd get so many people who would just build a farm and leave.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Why did they do that?
I don't know. We also had a couple people come on just literally X-rayed for massive amounts of diamonds.
Yeah, they just went down and started, like, directly going for the diamonds.
Yeah, it's like, dude, you have a stack of diamond blocks 3 hours after you join the server. You don't think we saw that?
There's no plugin that disables X-ray mods?
We didn't have anything.
There's too many ways around it.
Yeah. We used what was that plugin, Bank?
Core Protect?
Yeah, we used Core Protect, and it gave us the freedom to make sure nobody was cheating without restricting.
Basically, what I did is, once a day, I used Core Protect and just checked, like, what diamonds, like, diamond blocks that have been mined. And then if one person with too much in a row, like, showed up, I would start investigate.
Yeah.
See.
Simple stuff like that.
It was like hardly any work, but really effective.
But it also helped us know when somebody was stealing from another person, because that's obviously a huge no-no on a server.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I started playing on like an anarchy server where like cheating is basically, well, you kind of have to. So I started learning about all the things that were possible, which obviously helped a lot as well. Just knowing what they could do.
So basically, you learn from the darkness.
Basically, yeah.
I'm so glad we don't have to do that anymore.
Sometimes it was kind of fun to play investigator, but yeah, sometimes it just was a lot of work.
Yeah.
It seems tedious to do.
Yeah, it really was sometimes.
I'm not. Public servers are not for me.
They require definitely a lot more work than a sort of closed server. Yeah.
Yeah, like on Ripple Effect, I have no worries about any of my stuff whatsoever. And I love the fact that I can have that. Like, if Core Protect wasn't working on Common Craft, there was no way I was getting off the server for that night. Just because I couldn't trust some people as far as I could throw them.
I mean, for the most part, they were all fine.
Yeah. This kind of goes into promoting your server and how to make your server different from all the other servers out there. Because let's face it, there are a ton of different servers out there. But like on Common Craft, we tried to promote our server as like the public Hermitcraft. We played a lot like them. That's kind of what our server did. And if you like that stuff, you could come join ours. And then we would add like the Vanilla Plus is what I wanted to call it. And I'm super proud of some of the stuff we did because we were doing it before some of the other servers were. And I'm sure there were other servers doing it before us. But like using command blocks to do custom traders that would trade decorative mob heads or have zombies and skeletons and spiders drop currency.
Oh, that's cool.
That you could trade. Yeah, like Kami coins to me were the best thing ever.
Yeah, they were so much fun to make as well. Mm-hmm. They looked like sort of Chinese coins with like a hole in the middle. And then they were green and blue, like each quadrant was like, how do you say that? It was switching around like green and blue.
Yeah.
Sort of the colors of the server. I thought they were really cool.
Yeah, you could farm them, but it wasn't worth your time to farm them. It was just better to play the game, and when they showed up, oh man, yeah, cool, comic coin.
Also, you couldn't really get... We only got like custom hats, that sort of decorative things. So there wasn't much point in getting a lot of it.
That's also hard to decide, like balancing an economy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, we really were like, we don't want to... I don't know, we don't want to make it pay to win, basically. So we just added gimmicky stuff.
Following on from the Minecon predictions episode, we joined Duds and Bank in episode 16, where they talk about how successful their predictions were about what Mojang would announce at Minecon in September.
Let's talk about the biome vote, because we didn't get to really talk about the last biome before the last podcast went out, and that's the one that won.
Did you actually vote?
I did not actually vote.
Okay, me neither.
Like I said, Saturday I was out playing football. I was not home all day.
Oh, yeah, I was at my parents', so I wasn't at home either. I didn't get the chance to watch the whole thing either, so...
I would have voted for Mountain. So it's
Same
nice
here.
to see it won. But then again, the ones I voted for on every other vote have never actually won. So maybe it's a good thing I don't vote.
Yeah, maybe you should stop voting.
Yeah, so Mountain, we guessed correctly. They're goats. They're mountain goats.
Yeah, that was really
called
cool.
That one.
We uploaded the episode, and then the day after... Or we recorded the episode, and then the day after it was announced, and I was like, "Wow,
it's awesome."
I didn't expect that.
We also mentioned Mountain Generation.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be in there. It's like we know what Mojang's doing before they do it.
Or they're finally starting to do the cool stuff.
Well, and then we also called that 115 wasn't going to be a big update. And that they were saving everything for 116.
Which also kind of seems true.
I'm telling you guys, we need to be more popular. Get your Minecraft news here, because we're guessing on all cylinders.
Right? Maybe you're gonna get your red dragon.
Red dragons! One per episode.
Yeah. I wanted to help you out this time.
That's like my little trademark thing. Instead of just Red Dragons TM, it's Red Dragons 1 per episode. But yeah, Mountains, super excited about that. I was upset that Mountains didn't have a new tree, and then we had the Nether update. So now I'm not worried about that anymore.
In the same episode, Duds and Bank give us their first impressions on the 1.16 Nether update. From Nether forests and blue fire to new wood types and mobs. Let's find out what they think about the forthcoming update to Minecraft.
Wow.
Yes.
Beep, yeah. It actually says that in the notes, I gotta tell people.
It's actually in the notes, so... Yeah, Carl.
Wow, I mean, where to start? The Nether update. I feel they did a lot. They're gonna add biomes to the Nether, which I think is awesome.
Yes.
I kind of like being in the Nether already. I liked when I thought it was a really scary place, and I'm really comfortable in it. But that opens a new sort of perspective on it, and I'd love to explore that new Nether.
Yeah, to me, the Nether now feels like a place I want to go travel through.
Yeah, and it's not going to be the same old red. It's going to have variety in colors and stuff.
Yeah, whereas before you kind of enclose your tunnel or you build it really high, so it's whatever you want. Now it's like, well, it'd be kind of cool to have windows and look out into the Nether and all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, especially the forests. They looked really, really cool. Colorful.
Yeah, I'm excited for Blue Fire.
Oh, yeah, same here. And I'm sure, I mean, it's going to work when you light soul sand, so I guess that's just going to work in the overworld as well.
Yeah, I think I remember them saying it's going to work as long as it's on soul sand. It's going to be
that's
going
to make so much cool, like, magical places. Witch huts and stuff. Yeah. I saw some new glowstone as well.
I think I saw that too.
I don't know if it's glowstone, but it sort of looked like it.
I want to call it new glowstone too. It kind of looked like an orange that was sliced and put on a block, but...
Right. I can't remember. Did it glow? I mean, I guess so.
I couldn't tell. It was in the Nether.
Yeah.
Everything is on fire.
Maybe it's some new kind of ore that could be, I guess. I mean, with all these changes, I don't think I saw something about a new ore type. Did you?
I don't think I did either.
Okay. I mean, maybe that's gonna be it.
I want to lean more towards it's kind of a new glowstone.
Yeah, that was my impression as well.
Well, maybe it's like a new fruit or plant or something.
Oh, something edible.
Yeah.
Ooh, that could be.
Because they mentioned food in the Nether was a thing now, and if you saw from the video, there are tons of new mushrooms. So,
I had missed that. I didn't see new mushrooms.
I mean, I could see at least 5 or 6 new kinds of mushrooms in one picture, and I went, holy cow.
Sweet.
They're like blue and orange
that.
and red.
Well,
and
I know the new mobs they add, because, well, they're gonna add new mobs, but they drop meat, the beasts.
Yes, but can I put honey on it?
I mean, let's hope you'll eventually get your honey on meat, but I didn't read anything or see anything about it.
Yeah, I haven't seen that either.
I wish I could say yes. .16, what else do we get? We get new trees.
Yes.
Like, we get nether trees. I saw blue ones and red ones. I hope we get new wood with that. I mean, I can't imagine it would be like oak wood.
No, well, they had like these veins in them.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I'm just assuming we're gonna get a new wood type, because...
Yeah, well...
Kinda has to be.
So here's what gets me. So they have these like red and blue veins in these new woods. Is that going to be like tree sap, or are we going to be able to get the tree sap out of those woods? Maybe.
I don't know. It sort of looked like glowy vines that grow on it or something.
That could be it too. Oh, thanks, guys. Doggies. Yay.
Did one sneeze?
Yes, one sneezed.
Well, bless you,
Yeah.
doggy. Don't know which one.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so they could be vines. I thought they looked like veins, but I don't know. I watched it 2 or 3 times trying to figure this out. But there's definitely new leaf blocks.
Yeah, that too. The way I kind of saw the veins, they just looked like they were part of the bark. I didn't really expect them to be separate.
Yeah.
Yeah, new leaves. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, and they're different colors. They're not green. We have red and blue leaves finally.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was just starting to think, like, how would they react in the overworld?
Oh, true. I wonder if they die in the overworld and you have, like, gray, kind of like how if you take coral out of the water, it turns gray.
Or like regular leaves who change their colors a little bit, depending on in which biome they are.
That's true, too.
Maybe they have the same subtle kind of change. Like, they just get a bit duller, but still be red and blue, but
well, what if it's
grayish in it?
What if it's just one tree type, and depending on where in the Nether that tree grows, it changes from blue to red or red to blue?
Oh, yeah, because where I saw the trees, they were sort of entire that color biome, I think.
Yeah, and if you look down, they have like nether grass now, and that's colored red and blue too.
Yeah. I didn't even read something about that. I don't know if it's going to be called nether grass or something else, or...
Yeah, I don't know what it's called either.
So many things that they're gonna add. Yeah, they're gonna add some new kind of trading as well. I don't know if you looked into that.
I heard about that.
Pilgrims. So I heard how it's gonna work, which basically is you throw a gold bar at them, and then they can throw something back.
Right.
Which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah, to me, it all depends on what they throw back at you. Obviously, there's going to be a loot table with percentages of what they throw back at you. If they're just throwing, like, a gold sword at you, It
sounded like it's not going to be an effective trading way like regular villagers.
Right.
But it does sound like the way they're going to update the Nether is that it's a survivable spot. Like, you could just go instantly into the Nether as soon as you spawn in the world and survive.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's going to be like some hardcore player's world like that. It's like day one in the Nether, don't come back out.
Yeah. I would probably. I mean, with the new Nether, that's actually, like, you would stay sane.
Yeah. Talking about the trading system, when I heard about it, to me it kind of sounded like this was a trading system they were going to use for 1.14, and then they realized that players were really attached to more of the older way, so they just kind of made a better older way, and then took this trading system and put it with the Piglin guys. If that
I think
sense.
I follow. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that. Maybe, yeah.
Because if you think about it, you can hold an item up at a villager and he'll tell you what he trades, or what he would trade for that now anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So they just basically took that concept and said, hey, I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to give you, but I'm going to give you it.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of makes sense.
It could be a stretch, but I'm going to keep stretching because we have guessed right so much on this Minecon announcement that who knows? We've got to be right at some point, right?
If we just keep saying stuff, maybe it'll become true. Maybe somebody is listening.
Yes. If you are listening, tell us, please.
We shouldn't forget another cool thing about the Pilgrim is that they are gonna attack other mobs.
Yeah, that looks
they sort
really
of
cool.
attack the hostile ones. I am worried though. Like, if they attack a zombie pigman, is that like a skeleton attacking a zombie pigman and you're screwed when you're around? Or are we gonna be safe when they do that?
I don't know, but I also looked at, like, okay, so you have gold farms, right? Well, if they go around just killing pigmen, now you have no gold farm. unless they drop gold too. But now what if they're taking out wither skeletons before you can take out wither skeletons?
Yeah.
What if they take out the piglin beast that you use to get food before you can take it out? Like, are they just going to rampage to the Nether to the point where there's nothing but them in there at the time? How is that going to work?
Well, I'm sure. I mean, they're gonna have some spawn requirements, obviously. If they're gonna spawn like another pig, like the pigman we got now, that actually could be an issue.
Yeah.
But just because you mentioned that, I guess they're gonna spawn in certain areas. Maybe they got their own biome. Maybe it's gonna be like villages. They just have a
or a
little
villager
area.
or pillager outpost, I should say.
Yeah, I think that last one is probably... That seems likely. Like, they're gonna have some kind of outpost, village kind of deal.
Yeah, to me it would make the most sense. I do like how if you go digging through their chests, they get all angry at you and stuff.
Yeah, and they don't attack you or something when you wear gold? Like, you're sort of invisible if you wear golden armor? Because they're really after gold always or something? Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how that works, because I don't think they're hostile towards you anyway. Yeah, unless you provoke them.
It would give golden armor a purpose, because let's face it, right now it really doesn't have one.
Yeah.
But then again, it's not really a big enough purpose for me to say, oh, I need gold armor.
Well, also, I mean, they're just mobs, right? So
yeah. Slap him in the face with my sword.
Exactly.
I have so many little clips of me saying stuff that, if out of context, would be extremely bad. So please don't take my words out of context.
Well, maybe somebody's gonna make a song out of that.
Yes. Please don't.
Episode 19, The Bane of Our Arthropods, is all about enchantments. Duds and Bank come up with their own enchantments that they would like to see added to Minecraft. Could the Optifine Zoom key come to vanilla? Let's find out.
So I thought of an interesting enchant, because we use, I think a lot of people use Optifine, and I used it for a long time just so I could get the zoom button. Yep. So I thought, what about getting binoculars enchant that you could put on your helmet, and then you could zoom in with that, or maybe if you put it on that it's automatically zoomed in, that you have to switch helmets. I guess an enchantment that gives you a button to press and then something happens, exactly like Optifine Zoom. I think that could be interesting. That might open up a new sort of way of or enchants for Minecraft. Yeah. But I kind of like them to be passive as well. Just, they're an enchant, they're sort of simple on the background. You don't have to do anything for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think if Mojang fixes the rendering engine, people no longer need Optifine. People no longer have the cheaty zoom key.
That's a good point.
Binocular enchantment.
Ta-da! Yeah, I think that could be nice, especially since the zoom function. Well, I'm so used to it.
Yeah, I can't live without it anymore.
And I think you can do it in game anyway, right? If you switch your field of view and stuff.
Yeah.
Like it just changes the settings a bit. You just put it in game. Yeah, I think that could be a fun one.
I agree.
So what about your enchant? What did you come up with?
So my enchant is also an armor enchantment like yours.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Saturation.
Okay.
So what it does is whenever you strike an enemy, it gives you saturation. Fills up your food bar.
Oh.
So while you're fighting, you don't have to worry about eating as long as you keep killing. Or keep striking, I should say.
Oh, I like that. That's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
Because obviously, like, if your food bar is full, you keep the regeneration effect. Which keeps you alive longer.
Right, and it kind of forces you to keep fighting and not doing the whole, I'm going to attack a couple mobs, run away, eat, jump back in, attack a couple mobs, run away, eat.
Yeah.
It gives you a reason to stay in the fight.
But if you put it on armor, it would work on a bow as well, I guess. You could just shoot from a distance.
I would have to guess so. I don't know if it would be something like it would drop XP orbs, like how mending works. I don't know
yeah,
if you would want to do that, because now you're adding more particle effects to the game and stuff.
Unless you add it into the XP orbs. I mean,
That's
in
true,
general,
too.
I really like the idea, though, of like, keeping your saturation up.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, like, it's strong, but it's not too strong. Like, if you would get, like, actual health hearts back or something, I feel that would be a bit too strong.
That's what I thought, because that was my original thought. And I was like, no, it's like mending. It's too OP.
Yeah, and now you're still dealing with, like, the natural regeneration you have in Minecraft. You just don't have to worry about eating, like you say, which is... I think that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I think that could be a really cool enchant.
Data pack. Somebody. Give me red dragons, give me saturation.
That might actually be an option. Well, do the binocular one as well.
Oh, yeah, might as well. You zoom in with Optifine and then put your binocular helmet on. You can see, like, every little pixel in the game.
I mean, you would see beyond render distance. Like, you just look in the void.
It just x-rays the world to blank space.
It zooms too far. Oh, jeez.
Following on from the Nether update announcements from Minecon, it's time to take a look at another barren area of Minecraft, the End. Duds and Bank come up with new block palettes, more mobs they'd like to see, and a better transport system, and even a link to a new sky dimension.
I remember, like, when I started the game a long time ago, but the Nether had that as well. It's like a very intense place to be, and you're like really scared and all that. But for the end, it died out like quite quickly. It was really intense and interesting at the start, and then it kind of quickly got just like, oh, this is a chore. There's no fun being here, really.
Yeah. To me, once you get an elytra, the End is not a scary place. You're not worried about falling.
You just fly everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to me, it needs to give you some stuff to go see. And that's when I came up and said, well, you need end villages. We're getting something like that in the Nether with piglins. I want that in the End. Give me some villages.
Oh, that could be interesting. I guess also have corresponding villagers.
Yeah, I thought you could do something like the piglins, so they're not like regular villagers. But kind of creating another kind of friendly mob that might trade unique items to the End. Make sure that whatever items you get from the End can only be gotten from the End. So it gives you a reason to kind of go there. The other thing was, just like they did in the Nether, I want different colors. So basically the End is pretty much purple, yellow, and black. That's it.
It's mostly yellowish, I feel.
That's all the colors in the entire world. And it's just like, come on, we need some more stuff. I want like purples and orange. I had the idea of maybe use mycelium, so now you have a second location to dig up mycelium.
Ooh.
In the maybe like End villages, or I know that's using purple again. But maybe, I don't know, make water colors different. Maybe water in the End, instead of being blue, it's green, or something crazy like that.
I think I saw on the wiki when I quickly looked on there earlier that in the, I think, mobile edition or pocket edition it's called. I think they made the water in the End purple.
See, but I wouldn't want purple because everything's already purple and yellow and black. So
yeah, but I mean, at least they did something.
Yeah. I had another thought that, Dragon's Breath is pretty much only used for lingering potions, right?
Yeah.
When's the last time you used a lingering potion?
Well, I think the better question is, when's the last time I used a potion?
Okay, true.
Not that often. Yeah.
So, it's mainly used for what? Tipped arrows and lingering potion.
Mm-hmm.
Two things that don't really get used a ton. I would love to be able to take Dragon's Breath and create a particle block. I mean, it seems like things are getting really good with smoke particles and bubbles and stuff like that. So they're not really affecting gameplay performance. And
even if it did, like they're working on better graphic performance and all that. So Yeah.
Well, and I got this idea from your path you're working on that I looked at Friday.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say too much more and give it away, but the idea of being able to say, well, I want particles just kind of floating around in this area would be really cool. And you hit the block with a dye and it changes the colors. It would create such a great ambiance to be able to have like little sparkles somewhere. It's like that would give me a reason to farm Dragon's Breath.
Yeah, then you could build in places where you wouldn't want to build.
Yeah.
Like if you can have particles, you can just walk through it. It doesn't affect anything.
Mm-hmm.
But now you could create fogs and something like that.
Yeah.
Well, like you said, you can really make an ambience somewhere, that would be awesome. Mm-hmm. I like that.
I mean, maybe they are light blocks too, so maybe they give off level 15 light or something like that.
I mean, I'm always up for more light blocks.
Mm-hmm. Placing them in water would probably be a problem. So I think if you were to try to place a particle block in water, the water would just kind of wash it out like it does redstone.
Oh, okay. Well, you could make it change. Do something in water as well. Or maybe have different things for that.
Yeah, what's your next thing?
Yeah, my thing... I'd like to... I mean, it's such a waste of a dimension, kind of, at the moment.
Agreed.
And because we already have the Nether, which is also almost an R&D kind of dimension.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you could live there, because you could make an end portal sort of right next to where you want to be, and then you always have a spawn point nearby. But I'd like to have something for the end to... I mean, if we're gonna make it more interesting, give me a spawn point.
Yeah.
So I can live there. I mean, you can use everything. You can have water. You can bring mobs in there. So it's actually... It has the same kind of mechanics as the overworld, except the bed explodes. And, I mean, I get a bed wouldn't work, because you don't have day and night, but, I mean, I want to have a spawn point in there, being able to live there.
I mean, just being able to put, like, a custom portal to somewhere where your bed is, like, physically be able to say, I want a portal here, would make it 20 times better than it is now. So you don't have to constantly go through the main island to get back and forth.
Yeah, well, you have the occasional portal that brings you back to the main island. But they're fairly random, I think.
And you can't move them. So the ability to say, I want a blue, quote-unquote, end portal or whatever... that'll take me to the overworld where my bed's located would be awesome.
Yeah. I also thought maybe it could be cool to have... Because you have a lot of end portals in the overworld. Uh-huh. Maybe you could make it so that each end portal goes to a different main island.
Ooh, true.
I mean, I don't necessarily each have to have a dragon. I think that could be a bit chore-ish again.
Yeah.
But... yeah, I think if you have like a few main islands, I think that could be interesting. That creates more of a dynamic kind of thing in the end already. You could fly from one portal to another. Maybe you could use it as overworld travel that way.
I agree.
Well, that wouldn't work because you always spawn back at spawn or at your bed. But yeah, I don't know. You know.
But it would give a good reason for why there's so many end portals in the overworld.
Yeah. I think that would also maybe help adding to sort of having that spawn point. If you have different end islands, you have different places to go, I guess.
I agree with that.
And along with that, I thought it could be cool to have some kind of connection with another dimension. Because you have the Nether and the overworld. And then it's used for quick travel, usually. Maybe you could make some kind of cool connection with a dimension as well, with the end. Instead of just being a... Because now it's a sort of a separate dimension. You just go there and go back, and there's no real link to any other one.
What kind of dimension would it link to?
Well, I was thinking maybe the sky dimension, which everyone has sort of talked about before and everything.
What kind of...
Because it sort of resembles space, so I think that could be a really nice link.
What kind of mob would live in this sky dimension?
Well, you can answer that.
I want you to say it, Bank.
Alright, well, maybe a red dragon.
Red dragons, Mojang. Where's my red dragon? I want to ride a red dragon.
Rideable red dragon.
There's my one.
Oh, that would be cool to fly around through the end on a red dragon.
It would be. I mean, could you imagine? So basically, just take the end as it is now. None of our improvements.
Mm.
Instead of it being dark with the space theme, you put like a daylight theme behind it. And instead of in stone, it's like grass and regular stone. I mean, it's the exact same, except opposite. And that's the sky dimension, right?
I mean, I feel like a sky dimension needs clouds.
Well, you would put clouds.
Gotta have a cloud block.
My other idea to kind of make the end cooler was play with gravity. I think I mentioned this before.
I like that.
But, I don't know, make it so every once in a while the whole double jump effect you can get with a beacon is somewhere because you have biomes in the end. Make certain biomes have the double jump effect. Maybe you could have particle blocks that cause the double jump effect. Something like that.
Ooh, that could be really interesting.
Yeah, and like I said, I want to say...
where you have different biomes with like different gravity effects. That's... Ooh, that could be really interesting.
Yeah, I want to say I've talked about that before, but I wanted to reiterate it because that's something I say simple, but to me it feels like it could be simple that really would just straight up change the dynamic of the end.
Yeah, and it would make it sort of its own dimension. I just mentioned that it's kind of... It's just the overworld, but you can't sleep in a bed. You don't have day and night. That way it would become its own sort of... It would have something special.
Yeah, speaking of overworld stuff, I'd like a food option from the end. I mean, I know we have the coarse fruit, and you could eat it, technically, but it teleports you. So I would like its own food. The Nether now has its own food source. So
yeah,
I would like the end to have its own food source. I don't know what it could be. Let me eat endermites for once. Those things just
maybe
annoy
something like that. I think that could be a good idea. I mean, the most fun would be to create another sort of its own mob or mob set for the end, I guess.
And if we have end villages, obviously there would be some there.
Yeah, I think the end definitely... I mean, it's already filled with Endermen, which sort of... I mean, it's kind of an Enderman spam in there.
It really is.
So being able to add like a lot of different... Well, maybe not a lot, but just a few different mobs or animals and villagers kind of resemblance thing. I think that could do really well, just to make it more interesting too. Yeah.
Another thought I had was treasure hunts. So we kind of have the treasure map from the sunken ships and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So she's going nuts right now. Anyways, so we have the treasure hunts and sunken ships. I would love to have something like that in the end. Maybe like a temple or something you can go find. And maybe this is where you can find the super rare enchanted golden apple.
What about having a dragon slayer? And that's where you can find the red dragon as well.
Red dragon, guys. But yeah.
So you could make like an end cave.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we need something. We need points of interest.
Yeah.
And that was my idea with the treasure hunt. That it would be... I don't know anyone who doesn't like getting the treasure map and going and looking for the treasure. It's a fun little thing. Obviously, after a while, it gets kind of boring and no one does them anymore.
Well, it gets repetitive.
Right.
Yeah, they're all sort of the same-ish.
Right. So, if you can get an end one, I think that would be a nice little touch that people might find enjoyable. Maybe?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, in general, any variation. I think if you add more colors, just some different blocks have its own grass. I mean, mycelium could be a great one for that.
Well, I said mycelium at first. One, because it's purple, so it kind of blends in. And two, I would like a spot where Endermen don't spawn. I'd like some non-spammed Endermen somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another thing. It just gets so... The end's so repetitive. All the same block. And then all the same animals. Or mobs. And then all the same plants. And then once in a while you get a city.
Right. And in that city, there's the same mob you've seen over and over again. And then there's
only one mob in there, pretty much. Which, yeah.
So, it's like... I mean, we have these in cities with this floating pirate ship. But... You're going to try to tell me an Enderman or a Shulker built those things? I don't think so.
And pirates?
Yeah.
I mean, they could do something with those ships. I mean, this might be, like, too heavy on the game, but... I mean, what about having them fly around and that has some... I don't know, little flying pirate ships with, like, pirate attacks.
Or make the ships themselves just random, more random. Like, so as of right now, you have to find an end city, and you have to hope that end city has a pirate ship.
Mm-hmm.
If it doesn't, you don't get an elytra. Well, the city is missing the ship. Where's the ship? Have it randomly spread out throughout the end. Just have a random ship there.
I mean, that would make sense. It's a transportation device.
Mm-hmm.
Have it be away from the cities.
Exactly. Gives you more chances to get an elytra, and it adds even just the littlest bit of story to the game.
In November, Duds was joined by Orbney in episode 23, discussing Redstone and improvements they'd like to see. Would you like to see redstone up walls? And sticky redstone? Wireless redstone? The possibilities are endless, but do they make sense in the game?
A lot of people said bluestone, so I want to read off names. Daddy3260 mentioned bluestone or cobalt. Also mentioned redstone up walls, which I'm 100% for. If the new, like, what we're calling end redstone or nether redstone or bluestone could travel vertically on walls, that would give it a new function.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really like that
redstone
idea.
doesn't have, but this one has. That could be interesting. The idea that I had was just to have like sticky redstone. So you mix redstone with slime, and it becomes sticky. And kind of a drawback of that was that it could, since it's kind of diluted redstone, the power lowers by 2 every block instead of lowering by 1. So it's kind of a drawback. Like something more balanced. You know, you want to have vertical redstone, you have to deal with that, but it's gonna have instant power transmission.
Yep, I like that. I like the give or take.
Yeah, but yeah, that having bluestone is bluestone can go up walls, but it doesn't mix with redstone directly. That could be cool as well.
It could be very cool if done right.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm getting like all this phlegm in my throat from waking up still. Jimbo also mentioned a reliable way to have wireless redstone. I really like this idea. If, say, you craft 2 blocks, or craft a certain block, and within, I don't know, a 15 block radius, if that block gets powered, the same block that you have, I don't know, say you have like 5 dispensers, and you power 1 dispenser, and then 3 of the other dispensers are within a 15 block radius, those 3 would also get powered.
That's going to do it for today, everyone. There is so many more discussions I could have included in the best of, but this episode is already too long. Duds will be back next week, and we look forward to bringing you more episodes throughout 2020. We'd like to thank all of you for listening throughout 2019. We just passed 6,000 listens and 155 per episode. Let's see if we can hit 10,200 per episode in the coming months. If you'd like to help us out with that, you can share the show with all your friends and on social media. If you listen on Spotify, follow us. Or if you listen on Apple Podcasts, leave us a nice review. Doing any of these really helps us reach more listeners. If you'd like to get in contact with the show, send an email to podcast@rippleeffectsmp.com, tweet us, or join our Discord, where you can have a chat with everyone who works on the show and your fellow listeners as well. All those links are in the show notes. This show has been brought to you by myself, but also everyone else we heard today in the best of, including Duds, Bank, Nina, and Orbney. The amazing music you hear in the intro, outro, and interludes is created by the one and only Decoy. Everyone's social media info can be found in the show notes. You guys have been awesome. Thank you for getting withered with me on this special episode, and a happy new year to everyone. You should probably go and drink some milk now. Bye!